morning, everybody across platforms on the digital world. I'm Rachel Muleman, and this is Smart Impressions with Rachel. I'm so happy you're here with us. We started just a few minutes behind schedule, but we're going to keep that content going for you. I have a very special guest with me today, and what we're doing here in Smart Impressions, if you're coming for the first time, is unlocking business relationships one connection at a time. I'm all about human connections and helping you walk away from this fun 15-minute insight from professionals around the world about basically bringing more connections to your world. And if you're in sales or if you're in any job on the planet, you're going to need to know how to do that effectively and better. So thanks for joining us. Today's show topic is the curtain call, the final closure of that effective sales closure. And so welcome to the show. We're going to uncover the secrets for effective sales closure with our guest expert, Alifiya Sura, who is the CEO of RoofTop Sales, a fantastic training company here in the UAE. She's been helping plenty of thousands, I would say, thousands of sales professionals actually be able to close better. So thank you for coming to the show, Alifiya. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Rachel. Lovely to connect again, and it's a lovely platform that you've created on here, and looking forward to add value to your audience.
Yay, awesome. Well, we'll get right into it, right? I always say I hope everyone has a coffee, tea, chai, water, whatever you like, but just take that 15 minutes out of your day and just learn, right? We're here to learn. I'm here to bring the excitement and to bring the experts to give you the insight. So there's nothing worse than having a deal, an opportunity for a customer that, they ghost you, they disappear, they don't give you the right answers, and you think it's going to be a possibility that you're going to have a closed deal, but then it never happens. And I can't tell you, I'm sure you're dealing with this all the time with all the people that you help train, right?
All the time, even in my own career.
It's inevitable. Everyone has to deal with it. And I think it's one of the hardest things to deal with, that constant state of rejection, right? So everyone deals with it. What are some of the ways that you're telling people to deal with this better? Because it's not easy.
Well, usually, yes. I started my sales process like when I was only 16 years old, like literally for pocket money. And nobody actually teaches us how to sell. There is no post-graduation degree. There is no 3-year curriculum about selling. You learn a lot of marketing and marketing skills, but how do you really do this life skill of selling? And selling is something that you do whether you're in sales or not, whether you're a business owner trying to onboard, funding, whether you're a parent trying to sell something to your child to eat their meal or go to school or do their homework. You're pretty much selling all the time. And unfortunately, nothing really teaches you this skill unless you rub your shoes on the, floor and, walk the long hours and get shut doors on your face. And literally there's no shortcut to really learning it and fast track this. They say they are born salespeople, but honestly, every single person is a salesperson. Whether you're directly in the profession or not, you're selling literally all the time. So one thing that we always tell when you're professionally trying to sell, when you're really trying to onboard a client, a customer for your businesses, when you're trying to sell something for money and take money back, usually the sales process is a 7-step cycle, and there are no shortcuts. The reason why we drop customers and they don't close is because you've cut corners somewhere. And unless you follow the cycle religiously, your success rate can highly increase. And it actually becomes more stable and a lot more structured in order to get your closings more qualified. So the 7 steps is, I'll tell you quickly. The first one is obviously prospecting. You've got to do prospecting. You've got to understand the need of that prospect. You've got to understand and build that rapport. These 3 steps are the most important. If you don't build rapport and you don't become a friend early on before you send your proposals, you are going to slip that sales, because people buy from people. People don't just buy products and services really. The higher the value goes, the more closer friend and that relationship or that credibility that you need to build. So prospecting, need analysis, rapport, the basic 3 foundational steps of sales cycle. And then, of course, you go with your proposals, your presentation, and then you have objections as number 5. 6 is about closing. And then number 7 is about repeat and referral. So these are the 7 stages of a sales cycle, which you should not skip any steps. When you do this consistently and religiously, your conversions are much more guaranteed.
Wow, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt that nobody knows. A majority of people don't know that there's 7 steps, but there's there's a method to this. You clearly know, and you've been sharing this, and I applaud you for it, because, you're helping so many people try to understand. If you just follow these rules, you will be able to close and have customers, right? And if you stick to it, it works. It works, and it's not as complicated as a lot of people may think, right? And so, I mean, I love this idea that whether you're a parent telling your kid to eat, or, going out on a date to find another date, you got to close, right? So it's all around the same thing. So let's talk about some of the big common mistakes that you see salespeople missing, and really missing the mark.
Really missing the mark is almost the last few stages of a sales cycle. So it shouldn't come to missing the mark. Ideally, we say that if you want to lose that deal, lose it in the first 10, 20, 30% of the sales cycle. Don't wait till the 70, 80% of work done. And then at that last stage, when you lose that deal, that's a criminal loss. So ideally, the biggest mistake is when you continue following up, you continue doing the work but you don't see the signs that is this a right prospect, or is this a real credible deal for you or not. So the most important mistakes, how you can avoid that, is in the initial stage, your foundational stage of the cycle. So it's about, we always say the formula for us in RoofTop Sales, we are very adamant on the formula NBAT, which is the need, budget, authority, and time. So unless you have this NBAT answers in your first 10, 20% of the relationship building, you don't go further at all. So we say drop the client in the first 10% or the 20% of your relationship building. N is usually the need. Like, does the guy really have the need? Don't just sell to everyone and anyone. Everyone has, wants. There is a difference between a want and a need. Everyone has wants, but does he really need it? And are you really filling that need appropriately? So that's the first thing. Does he have the money? Does he have the budget? So NB, so B is for budget. Is he the right decision maker? A stands for authority. So if he's not the right decision maker, then you're talking to the wrong people. And then even if you do the wholesale cycle, if you've not tapped the CFO, or if you've not tapped the purchase, you're only talking to the technical people, or you're only talking to the CEO, but you're not talking to the finance, you are going to drop that ball somewhere again. So A is authority. Is he the right decision maker? Or have you tapped multiple decision makers? Because there's usually often more than one decision maker on that deal. And the last one is most important, time. Are you going to close it this quarter? Like, guess what? Salespeople get fired if you don't get your quota and your target met. But as business owners, we take the luxury to, okay, I planned for 2 million, 10 million, 10, 50 million. It didn't come, too bad. No problem. Let's just go on. Many business owners are paying salaries to their teams, but their revenue goals are not getting met. If your revenue goals don't get met, you're not making profits, and you just cannot sustain like that. So it's very, very important to ensure highest priority is given to meeting those revenue goals, and your sales becomes your top priority. So if it's not going to happen within the time, within the first quarter, within the second month, etc., according to your sales cycle, you've got to be more conscious about who you're talking to more. So NBAT is the most important thing. If you don't make a mistake on this and you don't cut corners on making sure you have the right answers for these 4 questions, don't go forward, and you'll reduce your mistakes a lot.
Amazing. And I can't tell you enough. Like, I've been in so many different businesses where They don't even look at this. I know that qualification for pipeline, I've heard it referred to as band. Maybe somebody listening may heard it as band. You got another way of positioning the acronym, but it's the same thing, and it's those 4 pieces to make sure that before you even pitch it as part of your pipeline that's going to close for revenue, that you need to qualify that, and I can't stress, business owners, if you are listening, make sure any salesperson within your organization has defined those 4 points so that you know the legitimacy of their opportunity. And right now, that is one of the biggest problems, I think, across the world with salespeople. And again, if you don't learn it, how are you going to know? So thank you so much for sharing that point. That's a big one. How do you tailor? I mean, let's say you're in the final stages of the sale. How do you tailor your closing approach based on, is it an industry specific approach, or is it the type of client? Because closing, there's an art to closing. I really believe there's an art to closing. Maybe you could share a little bit more how that approach varies depending on who you're talking to or what you're selling.
There are different models according to different industries. Like, for example, we work in multinationals and stuff, and the strategy that the multinational company will employ is completely different than a SME or a mid-sized business and stuff. And I feel, as entrepreneurs, 80-90% of the entrepreneurs are SMEs, and they remain SMEs for 10 years, 20 years. And the questions that the multinationals are asking are so much different. They're talking about branches, they're talking about 100 countries and 50 countries, and SME entrepreneurs are stuck on profits, or 10 people, or fire 2 people, or hire 3, or 10 customers, or 3. Like, the questions are so much different. But every company can actually have that game plan and that go-to-market strategy to become that multinational, to become that franchise-ready, potential IPO-ready company, and that's technically where a business can be taken if it's planned right and the vision is correct. So different models normally work largely. They can be divided in 2 parts, which is a B2C or a B2B. Like, what is your product line? Are you selling to individuals and consumers, or are you selling to B2B? Now, every company can become a potential B2B product. Every product can normally become a B2B product. But if you're e-commerce or something, then you're a B2C plan and a strategy on sales and go-to-market. So we normally divide the sales strategy for products in B2B or B2C, and that's how it can be taken forward. B2B usually works in so B2C, let me tell you first. So B2C is more like directly reaching to individuals. This has to be a mass market strategy, because you cannot be talking to 1 person, 10 people, 5 people. The sales has evolved a lot as a go-to-market strategy. You've got to have B2C on a mass communication, mass market strategy, where you could do lump sum of communication and then invite people to take action and stuff like that. The social media plays super well for B2C kind of strategy, where you can reach the mass market, mass audience, mass emailers and stuff like that. B2B, working smart than hard, is usually working on a channel and a distribution strategy. When you have a product that can go to multiple resellers and then it reaches the consumer. And that's a smarter way of leveraging time and effort on your sales strategy. And then you just train your resellers who become like a whole new company, and the numbers are different and the strategy is different. This is what helps you to franchise, to scale, to grow, to really run that company without you at one time. And that's what we say. Every company, if it's not running without you consistently, if you can't take a 15-day holiday every quarter, if you can't take a 2-month holiday every year, then you're doing something wrong. So you've got to have a company which is running on a consistent plan, on an autopilot, and at least your operation cost and your profits potentially should be coming without lifting a finger.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, there's clearly a different strategy depending on what kind of business you have. Deep diving into what that is and how to proceed with the sale is very important to just identify and understand so you can have that long-term effective result. So I appreciate that. It's a planning thing. I always say plan to fail, fail to plan. I'm a big fan of this one. Now, you won't believe it, but our time goes quick. This is just a tidbit of information. And I know we can go all day, you and me, about sales because it's two places we both love. I love to open, you love to close. We do a little dance, and hence we're on the stage with the curtain call. But I don't want anyone to leave this morning without knowing at least three tips that you can help them with their lives today once this show is over in their sales for this week, next week, the next month. What are three tips that you think everyone should need to know today from Smart Impressions?
So the first tip I would say is, if we are business owners, we have a very powerful tool where you can create your go-to-market offer, your sales offer. If you're salespeople, you have a little limited resources, but you can still create your offer to the customers that you're talking to. So sales is about solving a problem. So it's about understanding the need of the customer and then creating an offering which can actually solve that problem. And the bigger problems you solve, the more money you make. So that's the fundamental. So the first important tip is understand your go-to-market offering, which is completely customized and made according to the need and the problem that you're solving. Most people don't do this. Most people just pick their product, add a margin, try to, selling ice to an Eskimo. It doesn't work that way. So the more deeper you can get into the problem your product is solving, and are you really making a change in the world? If your company wipes out tomorrow, will it change anything? Like, will you impact anyone? Will you shift anyone? Like, imagine Google goes away. Does it impact the world? Imagine Intel goes away. Does your business really matter? So if you really find that and you create an irresistible proposal, an irresistible product price mix, an irresistible offering, that's the biggest power you can have as a business owner. And we would normally encourage people to go deeper into your offering. What are you really offering? Is the price product mix correct? And to the right target audience, is that mix correct? That's where I would normally say that's the most important tip, because it doesn't work. Selling ice to Eskimos don't work, because even if you sell ice to Eskimo, you will lose that customer for the long term. So the more consistent you are with that makes the maximum sense. Second tip would be talk less in your sales call. Just listen. Sales is more about listening. When you listen to the consumer, guess what? He likes you more. So he will buy from you more if you just kind of keep shut and listen. It's not about just giving product specs, technology, blah, 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 all the features and stuff. It's really not about that. It's more about just listening. And guess what? If you actually attentively listen, the customer will spell out your entire proposal for him. And you can just put those points and each and every point that he mentioned, a counter offering for each of that. If you do that right, this is what we do in our elevator pitch. When we work on our elevator pitch, it's about what is the need of the customer, what's his problem, what's your offering exactly to that. And that's what needs to come out in that 30-second elevator pitch that you make to the customer. So talk less, you just give your 30-second elevator pitch, and then you're just listening to the customer and his issues and know the right questions to ask to get him to spell out your proposal. And the third and the most important pitch is going to be referrals. Like 80% of the customers say they would give you a referral, but 90% of salespeople never ask for one.
Yeah.
So referrals and repeat business is very, very powerful. So that could be the third tip. So I will repeat. The first one is an irresistible sales offer. The second one would be listen more, talk less. And the third one is ask for referrals.
Awesome. Well, questions are starting to come in right now. I don't want to close the show and dive into the answers yet, but I do want to just throw out some things. This is an opportunity for you to get your questions answered. I'm bringing experts here to the stage for you to engage and find out how to solve these questions that may be driving you crazy and keeping you up all night. So if you've had a client ghost you, guess what? You haven't built the relationship properly. If you are still waiting for an offer that you've given to a client that was given over a month ago, there is something wrong. So there are tons of things that happen in the sales process, but if you do not have communication and you're not hearing from them, I highly request you to figure it out. So Alifiya is here to help everybody. And here you say, someone says AI is important, right? Salespeople are fired in case they're not meeting those goals. That's very reality. That's the reality. What's your perspective on sustainability of prioritizing sales goals over talent retention, given that retaining talent poses one of the most significant challenges for human resources? And there's no doubt that's a big conversation. We can't get into it today, but please do engage with Alifiya. I tell you, help this person out that mentioned this comment, because it's a hard one. How do you do it for HR? You can't please everyone when the bottom line is the top priority. So I can't thank you enough for coming into the show today. Thank you for sharing your tips. There's no doubt these are incredible. So if you are listening, implement today. Don't waste any more time. It's been a pleasure having you on my show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And anyone can reach out to us on our website, rooftopsales.com. You can write to us at grow@rooftopsales.com. So any questions, just reach out. We do a lot of free sessions. You're happy to come and learn. Don't suffer. Solve your problems and move on.
Absolutely. And when's your next free training? I know you do some online early things on Zoom, so people don't even have to leave their home. But when's your next training that you're doing?
We're doing one today, actually, for business growth and strategy. I hope you're coming as well, Rachel. And we do normally one at the start of every quarter. So definitely come in and I'll share it with you, and you can,
awesome.
Spread it to your audience as well.
Sharing is caring. Everyone's talking about, how do I make content for my social media? How do you just close a deal? That's what I think everyone should be focusing on. And that's reality.
Absolutely.
So thank you for highlighting all these tips today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that our audience across the world has gotten insight that is invaluable to helping them drive better sales. So thanks again. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, same time, same place. Grab your coffee. And until then, have a fabulous, successful day.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.